Hi, HRN listeners. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, and we have a really fun campaign and an ask for you. This 15th anniversary tour is aiming to bring you closer to unique food and music experiences in some of the most exciting cities in America. All the while, we're raising funds to support our work empowering the next generation of food systems storytellers through our fellowship programs. Here's how it works. Donate to HRN and be entered into a raffle in the city of your choice to win a dinner for two at a noteworthy restaurant and tickets for two to a concert at a prominent local venue. We have incredible partners in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas, Charleston, Asheville, and Ardmore, Pennsylvania, who have donated a meal for two and two tickets to a concert of the winner's choice. And all donations help fund our fellowship programs, where we're helping to build essential workforce readiness skills and food system storytelling skills. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15. Thank you.
I'm Erica Wides, host of Let's Get Real, the cooking show about finding, preparing, and eating food. You're listening to Heritage Radio Network, broadcasting live from Bushwick, Brooklyn. If you like this program, visit heritageradionetwork.org for thousands more.
This is Cynthia Cherish Malloran, DJ Cherish the Love, and you are listening to Primary Food Radio on Heritage Radio Network. Hey, this is awesome. This is actually my pilot. Woohoo! Woohoo! And I am here with some really awesome ladies. We've got Rue.
Thank you.
We've got Lee.
Hi.
Speak into the mic, Lee.
Hi.
You're going to want to keep the mic closer to you because the mic, needs to be like in your mouth.
Hello.
We've got Christine.
Hello.
And we've got my co-host for today, Stiggly, Sacha Jones. Hello. Hey, so the name of this show is called Primary Food. This is a very important concept that me and my co-host learned as students at IIN, Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Basically, the food that we eat, the food on our plate that we put in our mouth, chew and swallow, is what we consider secondary food, and primary food is the rest of stuff in life that nourishes us, like our spirituality, our creativity, things that we learn in life, our relationships. All of these things, these nourish us. And the higher quality primary food we have, we tend to have much better quality secondary food, right, Sacha?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I love this concept of primary food because it is what has kept me afloat and got me through a very successful breast cancer treatment. This is the thing that has set me apart from many others who are going through cancer treatment. They've asked me, what are you doing? What are you doing differently? And I realized, it's this stuff they learned in school. Wow, I actually applied stuff I learned in school. Wow, that's wild. So today we're going to talk about, and every show we're going to talk about primary food because I want this to get into people's lives and people to understand that there's a difference and that we have to nourish ourselves with these things. Otherwise, we end up in kind of like funky relationships, right? And do strange things that doesn't benefit us. However, it does make for good music, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's Rue. She's like, yeah, this stuff's my muse.
Yeah. Usually better music.
Much better music. Yeah. It's uncomfortable to live through, but it does make for good muse material. Mm-hmm. So first of all, before I really dive into the show, I have a list of people to thank. So I'm going to thank everyone. Just really lock that in. Thank you, Jack Inslee, for being in the booth. Woo-hoo! He is making this show real easy to navigate.
Thank you.
Ooh, his voice came out of nowhere. That was the manly lady voice we have. Aaron Fairbanks, of course, our executive, awesome Heritage Radio. Thank you, Erin, for reaching out to me and coming over and wooing me with chocolates and a T-shirt and saying, she came over and she asked me, do you want to do a show? And I was like, let me think about it. Yes.
Aww.
And that was awesome because I was in the middle of chemo. I had been writing the cancer diaries and she had been following. And I know awesome Erin because I DJ'd for her last year for several of her events at the Urban Sprawl Salt Farm in Midtown. We had so many awesome parties, ladies' night. Of course, Patrick Martins, you rock. I know you're listening somewhere. JB Ramos, a supporter of mine in Toronto. You're amazing. You text me every day. You've been keeping me so afloat. She has created my, quote, Toronto Army. Sounds so violent, but it's really loving, actually.
Are they a primary army?
Primary food army.
Yeah.
She's been awesome. She's actually running a fundraiser for me right now, which is so damn thoughtful. I've got a friend and supporter in Denmark, Lisbeth Ebbinghaus. Thank you for running the breast cancer run with my face on your back. Basically, it was just amazing. She was telling me that people were noticing as she was running. People were looking at my smiling face on her back. So this is my shout out to you. Thank you, Debbie DeFord. I love you. She set up my GoFundMe. Like the minute I got diagnosed, she just swooped in. She's like, I'm not even going to ask permission. And then she created this fund, and the money that was raised has helped me so much through the year. Because you would just be so mind blown how much this stuff costs. Cancer treatment bills and things like that are like insane. Like the other month, I found myself going, "Oh, the new charges for this month was only $25,000. That's cool."
Whoa!
The month before was like $55,000. The month before that was like $42,000, and I was just like, I'm just laughing at it at this point because, you can't like focus on that. Melissa Curtis, thank you so much for donating your hair for me. Because I couldn't do it. My hair wasn't long enough. I was so heartbroken, so I wrote one of the cancer diary posts about how I really had it in my heart to like donate this hair, and when I contacted the company, they're like, yeah, too short. I was like, oh. So Melissa had cut her hair, and she's donating it in my name. So she said, you are making wigs for kids. It's blonde, but,
Blondes have more fun, they say.
I can pretend that I had blonde hair. I'm Asian, black hair, whatever. Fina Cohen for organizing the most incredible Mercy by the Sea retreat with my other cancer surviving sisters last week in Connecticut. Incredible. Thank you so much. It was so meaningful. My sister's in attendance at that retreat. Naz, amazing. I love you all. Luana DeAngelis from You Can Thrive. Thank you for funding that. It was so special. And Vanessa Arlata Calderon, my high school classmate, who hooked me up for that whole deal. I got scholarships, was able to give scholarships to a couple of other women. It was amazing. I'm not done with this thank you list because there's so many people to thank. Because I don't know how this happened, but from the start, with my diagnosis, my gains quickly outweighed my losses. And it's because people just kept stepping in and just helping keep me afloat. And that is everything. That's the support system. That's it right there. Amy Schumer for being a great friend and inspiring me and making my tits go viral.
Anyone can do it.
It would be Amy twice. So, I think collectively now, my tits have been liked 100,000 times.
Oh my god!
And I'm thinking, I really kind of wanted to have this popular chest, but wow, didn't know it'd have to come with the side of breast cancer. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I am just so blown away by that. Rachel Feinstein for making me pee every time you do your comedy, and every time I see you, I just light up, and I know you do too because we both squeal like little piggies. Steve Frank, my boxing trainer, for punishing me with workouts, and for using my story to inspire your other clients and getting them to work out even harder, which is mind-blowing. It's I never expected that. Joanne Grigioni, my best friend, I love you. You're just everything. You've been there holding me up from minute one. Nile Rogers for surviving and inspiring me to survive and putting in my head to reach for all the music possible, and that would be incredibly healing for me. And you're so right. After you told me that, I went to Scotland, learned the bagpipes, picked up the violin, picked up the Zen drum. David Haney, thank you for that. Just amazing. Robert Galinsky, who hooked me up with so many fun gigs and kept my mind off of what was going on. Because, like I tell people, when I have music in my hands, I've got nothing else on my mind. And with nothing else on my mind, I allow my body to heal. And that is, all need something like that. My niece Allison, for just being like everything and giving me everything to look forward to. She's 3.5 and she's just is so brilliant. I can't stand it. It hurts. It hurts. Joshua Rosenthal from Institute for Integrative Nutrition for teaching me the concept of primary food that really helped me survive this. Universal Brotherhood movement. Sacha and I are both ordained ministers. I'll tell you stories about that. Sacha's also got stories about that for doing weddings. Love it. My mom and dad, I should thank you. I thank you. I love you for being at every chemotherapy session. I thank the God out there, the God in you and the God in me. And lastly, as odd as this sounds, I'd like to thank cancer for being my muse. And thank you to, weirdly, every unkind person that kind of propelled me here. You know how that happens? It's like,
sure.
Poof, you just like end up in these places. And thank you to the women sitting around me right now, sharing the microphones. Okay, so soon I will be having my double mastectomy surgery in a couple of weeks. And as I said to, I think it was you, Christine, this morning, then my tits will be behind me. And once they're behind me, it'll make for better hugs.
So you can have back boobs.
Yeah, back boobs.
Yeah.
Back boobs are awesome. So I was telling you, Christine, like you can hug me and honk, honk from behind, like spiritual, freshness. And that's really important. Let's go back to primary food again. I think that humor is huge. Like you need this stuff to like laugh and just like get like the energy moving and nourishing. Like, I don't know. I love to laugh. It's so strange to laugh through cancer, but I basically did all year. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I didn't cry here and there, but that wasn't the driving energy at all. And thank you also, of course, to everybody who'd been reading the Cancer Diaries. I've been publishing piece by piece on Facebook. All of your input, every single of your little clicks and likes just kept telling me to keep writing more. And the more I wrote and the more people shared, the more I knew I was going to get through this. This was one of those things you had to get through to get to a better place. And that's it. Now, today's theme is grandmas. And that's a special theme for me because I had a really dark moment a few months ago where I woke up and I thought, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to live, actually. I don't think I'm going to live to be like old or whatever. And I was having nightmares. I had a nightmare that my grandmother on my father's side came and she kept trying to reach for my hand and I could feel her in my dreams like pulling my hand. And I was like, let go. It's like, oh, don't touch me. And not because I don't love you, but I know what you're trying to do. I was like, don't bring me where you are. Stop it. And I felt really badly. I felt like I was disrespecting her, but there was something stronger in me to push her away. So I kept waking up and thinking like, oh, God, what is going on? I spoke to my best friend that evening and I told her, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to survive this. Like, I feel really, like, kind of grim. Like, what if I die from this? And she started to cry. So I was looking at her and listening to her, and I was like, okay, let me not talk like this to my best friend. It was kind of like really hurtful, obviously. So that night, I just, went to sleep, woke up in the morning, and I said, you know what? I want to be like my grandma. I want to be like old and gone through life and done a lot of things. And yeah, I'm going to put my mind there. Aside from me knowing that I'm stronger than cancer, I'm going to also end up being like really old and creative and done a lot of stuff in this cancer thing. It's this little like pimple that I had once, right? So 2 days later, after changing that and feeling everything in my body shift, my best friend comes over and she looks at me and she goes, oh my God. And this was me in the middle of chemotherapy. She goes, your hair is growing back. it was incredible. It's like, when does that happen? So my energy had shifted inside from like kind of like dying to like living again. And I was getting like little grass growing on my head in the middle of losing hair at the same time, which was way life and death, like, kind of, it was really deep. So that's why I'm dedicating this show to grandmas and just honoring a long life. Mm-hmm. A long, beautiful life where we've touched so many people, expressed so many things, and have left our mark for those who are still around to love us, even though we're not physically here, but still here. So because both my grandparents are no longer with me, I have adopted a grandmother. Oh. She doesn't like that because she's not a grandmother, and she's making... Lee is making all kinds of faces you can't hear. But, the face she's making is like the sound of like chalkboard scratches. So Lee actually is my DJ student. DJ LeeLee is her name. And how young are you?
85.
Oh, speak closer to the mic because you need to say that proudly.
85.
That's right. This is a DJ student who's 85.
Yeah.
Lee, now, you need to tell... Well, actually, let me tell you a little bit about Lee, because Lee's very cool. And for today, we're all adopting her as grandma. We have already had her sign the consent.
The honorary grandma.
So, Lee, actually, you know what? Instead of me reading something, why don't you just tell us who you are, what you love to do, where you're from? I want to hear it from you. You don't want to hear it from me.
Oh, no?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, I don't know how much you want to know. I'll try to condense it somehow. 85 is a long time. That's a long story you're asking for right now. But no, like I said, I was 85 last January. I'm nearer to 86, I think, now.
Yeah.
But I'm a playwright, number one. That's the first thing. Well, I did work for the government for Social Security for about 32 years. But my main love in life has always been my writing.
Yeah.
I don't have any formal education in it at all. I learned the hard way. I grew up in Harlem. In fact, I lived in Harlem for most of my life. And I joined a group, community theater group, and I watched and I learned and I started writing plays.
Well, you did tell me you had some formal writing, a book called How to Write a Screenplay.
Well, that was because, yes, I didn't know how to write for television.
A book.
No, I didn't know how to write for TV. And I decided I wanted to submit to the Eugene O'Neill Center in Connecticut.
Oh.
I had no idea how to write for television. I had the idea because being born, just about raised in Harlem, like I was born up there, by a midwife, by the way. They don't have them anymore, but she was there.
Wow.
That's why I think I still get headaches. It must have been from that midwife business.
Blame it on the midwife.
Blame it on the midwife.
Blame it all on
Why
the midwife.
not?
Yeah, right.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, growing up there was a wonderful life I had. Harlem is not the same. It went through a lot of changes. When I was there in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it was a great place to live. It was fun. It was clean. It was everything. And then by the time I moved to the Bronx and went back, Harlem was not the same anymore. It was in the 60s, mid-70s. And it was then, when we heard about crack, we thought it was in the sidewalk. We didn't
It was. All those little things were in every single sidewalk.
Right.
Right.
Right. There was nothing. You're right, So I decided to write a play. When I went back and saw Harlem after a long time, I couldn't believe it was where my world went from 110th to 155th Street.
Wow.
I didn't know there was anything past 110th Street. I never went. Everything we had was compiled right in that little space. So that I didn't know, when I went back after it had changed, I cried. My brother drove through the block and I didn't even know it was my block. And I cried and he says, "You should write about it." I said, no, whatnot. I was always the drama queen, no matter where it was or what I was at, But I did decide to write about it, and I wanted to write it for television, because if I was going to do it, I wanted millions to see it, not just the stage. I didn't know how to write for TV. So I went to the bookstore and got a book on how to write for television. I wrote Hollow Image, a 2-hour teleplay about an African-American woman who was born and raised in Harlem. She leaves, gets successful. That part is questionable, the success. But she leaves and she comes back and tries to fit in. And it's like they say, you can't go home again. You got to do it from where you are, not from where you've been, you know. And I had a wonderful cast. Morgan Freeman was my star. He wasn't famous then, but Morgan Freeman, and I had...
You made his career.
Look at that.
No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. But
You gave him his lucky break.
so I had a wonderful cast with lots of great people, Robert Hooks, and I had a good cast. And from that, I started writing for TV. LeVar Burton, I wrote for Reading Rainbow for 2 years, 3 years. I got nominated twice, Emmy nominations.
In the sky.
Butterflies in the Sky.
And a butterfly's on your card.
Yes, I love, and my latest play is about a butterfly. Yeah.
What's it called?
Painted Ladies.
Oh, you
And
know,
LeeLee
Elton
is
John has a
writing.
great song, Sweet Painted Lady.
Love
Really?
It's like my favorite Elton John song.
You need to listen to it.
I
It's
have
on
to
Yellow
listen.
Brick Road.
There you go.
It's one of my favorite Elton John songs.
I'm going to have
in the
you
world.
mix it and scratch it.
Oh, good, yeah.
Sweet
because
Painted Lady, yeah. It's
you
the
know,
best
the-
song ever.
The DJ, when I met Cynthia, so funny because I decided I wanted to be a DJ, not a professional, no. I just wanted to learn how to do that. I'm curious about everything. At 85, you're trying to grab onto everything and anything. You want to know everything about everything because, you know, the law of averages, you're going the other side. You got to say, okay. So I went down to the DJ Academy and happened to meet Cynthia. I was supposed to meet her, I think.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really joined yet down there. And I remember she said to me, well, if you ever need a coach, because she says, 85? Really?
Yeah.
And then she says, if you ever need someone to coach you, call me, email. And that was it, you know. And then the young lady that was giving me some few lessons down there, she left the academy. And I said, I think I'll get in touch with that point. My name is Cynthia. So, and sure enough, that's a few months
Yep.
ago. And we just...
More than a
just-
few months ago, actually, Lee, you emailed me that week I was having my grandma crisis. It was amazing. It was the most perfect, incredible thing. Because not only was I envisioning myself be of grandma stature at the age I picked for myself was 85, and Lee tells me, I'm 85. So she became this kind of
Divine
icon
intervention.
for me, you know, and I was like, oh my goodness. And she's being so humble about it, but that's okay. That's all right.
No, so it's been really, right now I'm getting together all my songs, something from the 60s or 70s, 80s, 90s. I'm putting together, I love music. And, you know, it's something like you said with, you know, with how you've titled your show and everything, that it is all about, that's the food. The food is really life. It's not food like on a plate. It's just the food. It's like the people you meet, like who I've met today. Now, we may not see each other again unless I hit
we
Florida
will.
or something.
We will see each
or
other
whatnot.
again.
But you know that somehow you're going to get in touch with them somewhere. Somehow you're going to meet them again. You're going to see them again. And there's friends of Cynthia, you're going to do that. I rave about her to everybody because she's just so brave, so everything. But life to me at 85, I don't worry about saying, oh boy, how much time do I have? I don't have time for that.
I love it.
I loved, like, I would go on the roller coaster. I loved the roller coaster. But I got a feeling my dentures may not hold on. So the roller coaster is out. Okay? And I love the roller coaster, but I can't take a chance with my dentures.
Lee, you could always keep your mouth shut. Well, like you're
You
on the roller
can't. You
coaster. I'm
gotta
gonna keep
scream.
it.
You gotta scream on the roller coaster.
See, this
you
is
know.
why I love Lee. She'll say you've got to scream.
You gotta scream. That's
Lee,
part of it, you know.
She's
I don't
primary
have,
food.
That's-
Lee is walking primary food for me.
Well,
you know,
I try. I don't know. It's doing like the DJ. I want to know. I just know how. People already are planning weddings and parties. I said, no,
They want to hire you.
They said, but you're going on YouTube, 85-year-old DJ.
Oh, gosh. You'll go viral.
I don't want to be viral.
Yeah.
I just want to learn how to do this thing.
I know.
You know.
Get ready for the viral ride next to my tits. Because between you and my tits, we're going to go everywhere.
God.
Wow.
You know, so
that's
Lee
it for
represents
me.
writing.
I knew
for
you
me.
when, Lee.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
No, No, but that's mainly it. It's just enjoying life in every way. I'm curious about everything. I took art lessons last year. I'm going back this year. Art lessons. I love to dance. But I still do,
Yeah, she danced in my DJ booth. I loved it.
Oh, I can do just about any dance you name.
As
Waltz,
long as the
Lindy,
dentures
whatever.
don't fall out, right? No backflips.
No backflips to your dentures popping out of your face.
So it's just loving life. That for me, it's all about loving life. And then it's a struggle in a way. I used to say 3 strikes, but I count it as 3 check marks now, because I have 3 marks, what you could say. And that's, first of all, being African American, being a woman, and being a woman of a certain age, which we all know now is 85. So that's not, I used to say 3 strikes because it's so hard, because we're up against emerging playwrights. And, we emerged a long time ago.
We need
I've
you,
been
LeeLee.
out. But it's difficult for us now because most theaters want young writers coming out of Yale or wherever. And the writers, the writers that are established, mature writers, there hardly is a place for us anymore. We don't seem to, they figure, I don't know whether they think you're brain dead after a certain age because you can't write. We're still writing, but it's difficult. But that's basically my story, that I'm having a lot of fun with life and I'm enjoying the food, as you say, the food of life. I'm having a ball.
This is Lee's big advertisement. Lee Hunkins, playwright of a certain age and of an awesome brilliance. Representative of writing as primary food. And curiosity. And always, Lee is someone who never leaves the playground.
Absolutely.
For sure. I
can
love
tell.
you. I love you, Grandma. I love you,
And I love you, my child. I'm supposed to say that, I think.
Ouch. that was scripted. So we're gonna, just talk about what does longevity mean to you and grandmas, and Christine has a very interesting story about grandmas.
Yes. So I was raised very much by my father's mother, and let's see, where should we start this
who's
story?
Your father? Your father's incredible.
Yeah, my father is Ghezzo, Ghezzo, and he was the director of music composition at New York University for about 35 years. He was a well-known composer, conductor, music professor, and my mentor in life and in music. And my mother is also a music professor, Marta Ghezzo, and she is currently still teaching at Lehman College, and she's a musicologist. And I was raised in an environment with a lot of music, a lot of students, a lot of performances, and I started performing at a very young age. They were political refugees from Romania and came to this country in 1969, not speaking the language yet, and working in a fabric shop in California until they learned enough English to start teaching music here. Amazing. And then went to the top of their careers with a lot of determination and focus. And because they needed that time to establish themselves, my father brought his mother from Romania here to help take care of me as I was growing up. And she was the closest person to me for many years. And my father passed away 5 years ago. And it's been quite a process of dealing with that. And this last visit, so I now live in St. Petersburg, Florida. I was born in Queens, New York. And I come back and forth every 3 months or so I'm here pretty often. And on this last trip to my parents' house, I was in the basement settling in some of my stuff, and a voice entered into my head and said, "Go over to that shelf. Look around on that shelf." And every once in a while I get directions like that, and it's always interesting results. So I walked over to the shelf, and I was shuffling through some papers and DVD cases and odds and ends, and I wasn't sure what I was supposed to find. And then I see this tattered little cardboard box,
Which she has here.
which I have in the studio with me.
It's kind of vibrating the table. It's sitting there. It's really something. I'm getting goosebumps.
And immediately I knew that was what I was intended to find. And I opened the box, and I'll show you in a bit, but I'm clumsy and will drop the box right now if I open it.
You don't want to do that,
No. Yes, you can definitely hold that and open
So we're
it.
looking at a little square box with...
A little cardboard box.
Tell us what's inside.
It is some of my grandmother's jewelry,
Wow.
a little photo of me,
Baby you.
and a little container of her solid perfume.
Oh, you have your grandma's perfume. You can
So
smell.
when I opened the box, I didn't know what was in it yet. And I opened the top of the box, and I smelled my grandmother's perfume.
Incredible. Little time machine.
And I instantly knew that it was such a clear message that she is here with me.
Oh.
And also in this box is a necklace that I made for her when I was about 11 or 12 years old.
Sasha can't handle this.
Making me cry.
Sasha's leaving. She can't handle it. She's just getting up and going.
So
It's incredible, Christine. This is...
And it was just a blessing of the highest magnitude. And so I posted, thank you, Lee. I posted about this on Facebook 2 days ago when I first got here. And then that evening, I get a Facebook message from Cynthia.
Hey, you know what? I'm having my pilot, and the theme is grandmas. I think you need to come.
Yes, and I said, well, normally I would say no because I get so nervous in a recording studio, even though I'm a musician. And but for this topic and with Cynthia, it's going to be wonderful.
It's just incredible.
So,
I'm just so in awe of that your grandma walked into this room with us.
Yeah.
That is so incredible. It's so beautiful.
yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm kind of getting lightheaded. It's so beautiful. Thank you for bringing that and sharing that. I was so touched when I read that.
Yeah.
And it's just so, the things we leave behind. Our
Yes.
legacy, our perfumes, our
smells is everything.
Smells,
And
you
and it
know?
is the most intimate memory,
Yeah.
smell.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And coming from such a talented family, Christine represents, for me, music as a primary food. Christine and I, we were in a band together in high school.
Wow. What was the name of it?
I'm so glad you asked. War No More. We were like activists, but not active.
We were pre-active.
We were pre-active, and we were all mad about what war? There was no war.
Any war.
Any war.
And Christine was lead singer. I think I was playing guitar and a drum
Yes.
Wow.
at
Yes.
the same time. It was like, who doesn't?
Any YouTubes of this?
It was pre-YouTube.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes things do appear.
Yes.
Yikes. Let's not talk about that. And I remember we made shirts and we were hanging
Yeah.
out with my parents. And then, all these years later, we reconnect and we're doing a radio show. How about
That's
that?
amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
Grandma
So,
did it.
Grandma brought us all together. I love it. Actually, but now I remember how we reconnected. I was in a taxi.
Yes.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yes.
I love how things intersect. Like sometimes you think you're the center of the world and like nothing else happens around you. Like we're sitting here at Awesome Roberta's and all these people are eating. Like, no, everything's revolving around me. No, everyone's living their lives and we're intersecting in the most incredible way. So one day, several years ago, I was in a taxi. There was an advertisement about a concert at NYU, was it? Or
It was at the, it was a branch of NYU, the
branch of NYU, right.
Institute of, I don't know which studies.
The Institute of Awesome Music Studies,
Yes,
I think
exactly.
it was called.
Ancient,
And-
I think Institute of Ancient Studies.
Ancient Studies.
Yeah.
And in this radio ad, they say Christine Ghezzo, and I was like, what? Wait a minute. And I'm listening, and I hear the date and the location, and I go, oh, I have to crash this. I need to crash this real big and loud. So I go.
Is it on Washington Square?
It was
No,
north, yeah.
it was north of that. It
Okay.
was...
It was incredible listening to you sing after decades and seeing you glowing. And it was, and your father, it was your mother.
My
It was
father was...
amazing.
I was performing with my father and a group of our friends.
So beautiful. And then when you were done singing, I just like smugly walked up, like,
Do you
I'm
remember
walking
me? You said, do you... And I screamed.
She screamed bloody murder. People looked like, what just happened? It's like we have this like beautiful concert, and then the woman who's singing is screaming.
And then the Queen's girl comes out.
It was incredible, and you know, that's like how we reconnected
Yeah.
again.
And
Yeah.
you saw this in the taxi?
I heard it in the taxi.
It was on NPR. I think the advertisement
it
was an announcement on
a radio
NPR.
thing. And that's so funny because I almost didn't get that taxi. You know how like things work?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
amazing.
you were
And I
meant
just
to.
amazing.
You were meant
Freaking
to.
love that.
Totally.
So now Christine is working in a very, very specific type of music. Tell us about that.
Well, for the past 10 years, I've been studying Indian classical music. And I started studying here in New York before moving to Florida. But for the past 3 years, I'm studying in a specific lineage of Indian classical music called the Mevati Gharana. Gharana means lineage or school. And it's represented by Pandit Jasraj, who is like the grandfather of our lineage, and he's alive and performing today. And so it's a very formalized way of learning music, but within that, it's a very strong and supportive community.
Incredible.
And it's become a family. After my father passed away, I had this empty space where I grew up in this environment of music and people at the house and cooking and making coffee and listening to each other. And it was gone. And then by entering this seemingly very different tradition of music, I have found the same experience that I grew up with.
Are they in St. Petersburg?
Yes, they have
incredible.
branches. Actually, the school that I belong to is in Tampa, North Tampa, but they have a branch in New York City and Westchester, in Atlanta, a couple in California. They're all throughout this
Everywhere.
country.
Yeah.
So his senior students, people who have lived with him and studied with him for many years, are sent to different locations to start different branches. And this last year, I was asked to start
wow, how
teaching
cool.
as
Incredible.
well.
What
So
an
I
honor.
teach a beginners group in St. Petersburg,
Now,
Florida.
what are the instrumentations?
So in Indian classical music, there's such a wide variety of instrumentation, but when you are singing vocally, unless you are doing a duet or a different formation with instrumentalists, it's usually voice, tanpura, which is a string drone instrument, and very often times a harmonium, which looks like a seated accordion.
Oh,
it
yeah.
has
Yeah.
the bellows, and you sit on the floor with it, and it has the same sound as an accordion. And people think it's a traditional Indian instrument, but it actually came over with the British missionaries to India as a kind of a portable church organ.
A portable church organ. That's incredible. I love that.
Is the singing like chanting, or is
I
it?
think we can listen to Christine singing. a track. Tell us what it is.
It's Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, and it's a Sanskrit chant. And in Indian classical music, you have sacred texts and you have secular texts. So this comes from, the very old, this is sacred Sanskrit prayers, giving praise to the Guru. So the Guru can be your teacher. So this I wrote, the melody I wrote in honor of my father, who is my first Guru. But Guru is also the universal God, Brahma, and also the teacher, the God and the teacher within. So
I'm all about this.
Yes. So with this chant, you are giving honor to the people who have helped you grow into who you are, and in the universal divinity as well as the divinity within yourself that leads you everywhere you go.
Wahi.
Okay, let's listen to it, everyone. Christine, thank you. Wow, that was...
Thank you for playing.
Gorgeous.
That was like a journey. I mean, I felt that in my everything.
I need to have a copy of that.
It's part of an upcoming CD project of merging my Eastern European background of music, of Romanian, Hungarian, Greek traditional and folk music, with my current Indian classical training. This piece I wrote in a raga, a scale called Raga Bhairav, but it does have both influences in it as honor of my father. And
do you get to go to India for this?
I went to India 7 years ago before I was in deep like I am now. I will be going back soon. I have 2 gurus that are teaching me, Pandit Radharamane Kirtane and Pandit Ratan Mohan Sharma.
So are you speaking?
I am taking Skype Hindi lessons.
Amazing. This is incredible primary food.
Oh, I am all about
is
primary
incredible.
food because I am not so concerned about performing or success in standard understanding of success. I'm doing exactly what my heart and soul leads me to do without thinking of what the outcome
High five
is.
to that. Everyone listening,
That
you
is
heard
success.
that. And let me tell you, I love Indian food. Indian primary food.
Let me tell you,
better.
come to my house from my teachers and my teacher's wife. I have learned to make street food from Mumbai, like you wouldn't believe. So
And
you
your
have
garden,
to come,
right?
And I have my big organic garden where I take all my veggies from.
You have to start growing turmeric now.
Oh, I need to go to 6th Street.
So
after
curry
this.
mania, yeah.
That's amazing. I honor you, your father, your music. This is your grandma.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they're all part of it. They're all part of it.
We had another grandma represented here today.
Yeah.
Sasha's grandma.
Granny Jones.
Granny Jones, who has the same birthday as I do.
I know. And
What's
she
that?
just
What
passed
birthday?
May
7th.
7th.
But she was born in 1919.
I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
I'm glad to say I wasn't either.
Granny Jones just passed away 1 month ago. And,
Wow.
yeah, so she was 96 and amazing. She lived in her own home until just before her birthday, actually. So it was incredible. But as you were speaking and opening that box, a lot of stuff was coming up for me too. And as Cynthia mentioned, I am an officiant as well. I'm a life cycle celebrant. And so I mostly do weddings, but I've had the honor, although it's a very strange thing to say an honor of, but I have had the honor of doing funerals. And every one of them has been for somebody I have loved a lot. And my dad's funeral was a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then I just did my granny's, and it was amazing. It was so beautiful because it really was a celebration of her life. She had lived a long time. She didn't want to be alive anymore. It was beautiful. We were really honoring her. And I was wearing a lot of her beads. I'm wearing some now. And we got back to her house, and it was wonderful being in her home again with cousins and grandchildren, and just filling that house with joy and laughter again. And I was just standing there having a conversation with, I forget who, members of my family, and all of a sudden the beads that I was wearing just dropped off. And beads were flying everywhere and down my clothes and stuck in my bra and everywhere. And I was like, oh, Granny, you are definitely here.
Oh, Granny.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But when you're talking about smells, like each of us took a few things home, and it wasn't while we were there that we noticed, but getting back to New York, I opened up my suitcase and it just smelled of Granny's house and Granny, and it was just lovely. And I've got a few things that it just makes me feel wonderful. I wear her beads, and I've got some headscarves and handkerchiefs that I filled with lavender, and
you have some recipes.
Yes, indeed.
Some pretty famous recipes that you need to talk about now, because this is about food.
Yeah.
Secondary food too.
Sometimes, and I talk about this quite often, sometimes secondary food is also primary food. And these couple of things are instances where they definitely merge. First of all, she made the best Welsh cakes in the valleys, in the Welsh valleys.
Yum.
Wow.
And they are, how would I best describe them? They're griddle cakes. They're cooked on the griddle. They're somewhere between a scone and a pancake, I guess. That's the best way of saying it. And we have them every March 1st. Well, we have them a lot in Wales, but over here I make them on March 1st, which is St. David's Day.
So is that the day we come back and do the radio show?
Yeah, definitely some food.
March 1st. Okay.
And so
made them in New York often, and lots of people have eaten them. My husband, who is not Welsh, has become way better at making them than I.
Oh.
And is way more into making them than I am. But
He's so useful.
He's
love
so
him. I
useful.
love you, Mike.
Yeah.
You're listening. I know you're listening. We love you.
But what really has made Granny Jones famous in New York and around the world is Granny Jones's flaming pagan puddings.
Flaming.
Yeah.
Christine just lit up with the word flaming or pagan. I'm not sure which.
Both.
So anybody who's familiar with Great Britain and their Christmas puddings, it's like a steamed, very much more moist version of a Christmas cake, I suppose, and you steam it and cook it for 8 hours.
Wow.
And then you turn it upside down and take it out of its bowl, and you pour burning booze on it and set it on fire, and it's very beautiful and flamboyant. And
I love burning, flaming food. Flaming pagan food.
Yes.
It's awesome.
And you put coins in it. So if you have a piece with coins, you make a wish, and you have luck for a year, and you save that coin. And so I make an adapted version, definitely an adapted one. Granny never put a lot of the ingredients that I do.
Did you put coins in it?
She did put coins, definitely.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But she didn't put a lot of the things because she couldn't get them. So, living in New York and being near the 4th Street Food Co-op, you can get dried mangoes and things, that were not around in South Wales.
So you have like the 2015 version.
Yeah, and even the 1990 version. I've been making them in New York since 1990.
It's that famous.
It's that famous.
It's been around.
And
What kind of booze do you use?
Depends, actually. I change it. But brandy, and often I incorporate my grandpa Heath, who is still alive, my mom's amazing dad. He's 94 and he's so beautiful. And he doesn't drink now, but every time we would go, he would try and force my husband to have a little cheeky drink and give us a bottle of whiskey. So his name's Albert Heath, and so in the recipe we put Albert's Private Reserve.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we're running out though, so we're going to have to just wing it with that one. But so I sell those puddings every year, and I just love that. And I would send some to Granny, and she approved and loved it. And Granny was somebody, she would never tell you that you did a good job, or that she would never say she was proud of you ever. She didn't believe in compliments or anything.
Is that why she broke your necklace?
But I would learn through other people that she loved it. So whoever was with her when she was eating it would say
secondary compliments are better than none.
Now, when you send it, did they have to wait and put the liquor on it, or is it liquored already?
And in fact, I would in the last years of her life, I actually made it so there were no coins in it, so she could put it in the microwave, and she didn't bother with all the flaming stuff. She just but there was booze in the recipe.
But you already did the 8 hours.
Yes.
So yeah.
But then in New York, every year we have a Granny Jones's Flaming Pagan Pudding Winter Solstice Party.
Say that again. Say that once more.
Granny Jones's Flaming Pagan Pudding Winter Solstice Party.
Is that
Invited? Are we all invited?
Absolutely.
is that March 1st also?
No. That's the closest Friday to the winter solstice that we can find. And I dance
December?
around that in December.
So soon.
It's soon.
So you make them again?
Yes. Well, we make them the day after Thanksgiving, and we have a bunch of friends come over, and we put all these.
So that's your Black Friday.
It's our Black Friday. It's actually incredibly laborious and lots of ingredients.
Do people line up?
Look, he's trying to order some right now.
Does include new friends you send to.
Absolutely, yeah. So what we do is we have a huge vat, really, that all the ingredients are in, and we take turns stirring the pudding and putting wishes into it and dancing around it, and it's become a really beautiful tradition unto itself.
Yeah.
And I have a song. It's a Squirrel Nut Zipper song that goes along with it, and we just dance around it. And everybody.
Can you sing it?
No.
Can you sing like one line?
No. But let me tell you, when Sacha does this and she lights this thing on fire, and we're standing around screaming in her apartment with this thing on fire, and I'm not talking red fire.
So your landlord's not listening, right?
Landlord is probably in there, right?
No.
Like, this is a blue flame happening in the middle of your living room.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, so we make it in about a month before, and that's when the stirring and the love goes into it, and that's what you taste. It's the love, and it's the primary food that goes into the secondary
right.
food. And then the solstice, I set fire to it. And my granny never did this, but I pour quite a lot of booze, and I pour it from great heights. And we have a big baking tray on the floor in the middle of the room and pour this flame.
And then we all scream like maniacs.
And then everybody gets plates and forks, and they're like, I want the piece with the money in it. And it's
wonderful.
And I put lots of coins in because, I want lots of people to be lucky. So and I'll see someone who I think looks. I shouldn't say this because then they won't feel special. But if I think like that person really needs a bit of extra luck, I'll be like, "Ooh, this is your piece."
Your coin. Somehow a coin got in here just for you.
Well, listen, either I'm getting invited or I'm crashing.
All right. Okay, you got it.
I think it's
I'll come
DJ
with you.
LeeLee crashes.
I'm with Lee also.
Yeah.
Lee gets invites, but DJ LeeLee crashes.
Yeah.
She's like that.
I do crash.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm so glad that we can honor Granny Jones.
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible. This is so incredible. I love it.
Yeah. She was
So-
great. She was great.
so
When I was
special.
15, I made her dye her hair pink because I was, into that at the time. And I was staying with her. My sisters had gone to Egypt, and I stayed with her in Welsh Valleys. And now I look back on that, it seemed a strange choice, but I did. And I made her dye her hair pink, and we went to town. It was great.
I love that. That's amazing. Oh God.
Town being Blackwood in the Welsh Valleys. It was named Blackwood because of the coal mining that happened around there, and the woods were black. Not exactly a happening town.
It's actually kind of like a dark sounding name,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
But look what you do on Black
Grandma
Friday. You make her you make the cake. Exactly.
I love that this is the intersection of primary and secondary food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Granny Jones represents that
Yeah.
in today's show.
Yeah, and that happens often, and I think
Yeah.
it's good. It's okay sometimes.
I think that, Sacha will be back with me on the show for many shows because she's going to be my IIN sister in this. And we're going to talk about, we're both ambassadors. And if you're interested in learning more and becoming a health coach yourself, like the two of us are, you can always check out IIN, Google them, Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Look into their programs, mention one of us. We're both ambassadors. And get to understanding what we're talking about on a really deep level and teach other people.
Yeah.
And this entire ripple effect of it is what's happening right now.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, I just love to. You already thanked Joshua, but I want to thank Joshua for giving me language around what I knew, because I started my own healing, and it was primary food that started my own healing for my stuff. But I didn't have a name for it, and when I went to study Integrative Nutrition, it's like, oh, that's what it's called, and it makes so much sense, and people understand it. It's very clear. So.
Where is the place?
The school now is it's an online school.
Okay.
But Sacha did it in person.
When I went, it was in person, and it was in the Time Warner building.
Okay.
In the
Columbus Circle. Yeah.
But now it's much easier for people to access it.
So it's a website?
Yeah, we can do it. You can do it online. You can learn online. I can firmly say that, well, actually, let me backtrack. Sacha was my health coach.
Yeah.
And after I graduated from my problems, I felt ready, and she said I was ready to consider enrolling.
Yeah.
I enrolled. It changed my life. I am a happier person for going to this school. And I think you can say the same. It's a very interesting...
Right, absolutely.
It's an interesting thing. So definitely, whoever's listening, if this strikes you in some way, look into it.
Yeah.
And at the website?
Institute for Integrative Nutrition.org, I believe it is.
It won't be hard to find if you look up.
And if that's wrong, I'm sorry. But you'll find it if you Google it.
Yeah.
And both Sacha and I can very much vouch for it.
Yeah, and I mean, when we worked together, the primary food life circle was pretty much like one of the key tools that we used.
Huge.
So,
huge. Yeah. So let's both say thank you, Joshua.
Thank you,
Joshua. So more primary food. Let's go back to music, because we've got Rue here, the rock star du jour. Talk to us. We're going to listen to one of your tracks and you tell us about it.
Okay.
I met an old man back in the day. He said, "Who you gonna
pretty famous. I mean, you'll know her from Otto's Shrunken Head. Her show Ruined Who. I've been a guest on it.
You sure have.
Now we're swapping.
Yeah. Come back anytime. And, before I forget, I just think everything is like a patchwork quilt. And all of you have been saying things that I feel like I have to, relate to. Some of them I might not be able to, because you scream on a roller coaster. You guys screamed when you met each other. You scream when you pour the stuff. I have to think of my best screaming moment. But I also really didn't even know this was about grandmothers until I got here. And my grandmother was born on the Lower East Side of New York. And my mother's parents were born in New York, and my father's came through Ellis Island.
Wow.
So, I did actually go with one of my daughters to the Museum of New York City, somewhere uptown, on my birthday. And there's a movie about, the whole pilgrimage to New York City, and it was oh my God, it was my family's story.
Amazing.
Totally. I was God, I really am so New York. But my Nana, my grandmother, was in vaudeville. And
talk about primary food, dancing music, expression.
So my mother grew up in that whole thing, and her father was a scout for the Yankees and was in the liquor business. And his mother, my great grandmother, who I never met, had a speakeasy on the Lower East Side during Prohibition. And we try to find all this stuff, but all I have is my grandmother's pictures with her. She used to sing with her sisters, and supposedly she sang with Jimmy Durante. And
amazing.
She sang Sweet Georgia Brown. She was they almost put that on her tombstone, Sweet Georgia Brown. Wow. And I just learned that song to finally play it. And it's pretty funny. But there was other stuff that you were talking about. She loved to cook also, but she cooked. They moved to the Bronx when the Lower East Side, was too nitty gritty to them. They wanted the country, and the Bronx was the country. So my parents all grew up in the Bronx. I was born in the Bronx but never lived there, but I feel like I'm so Bronx is in my blood. And but my grandmother only cooked Italian. She would go to Arthur Avenue.
I love it.
And she made the best lasagna in the world, the best cakes, cookies, Christmas cookies. And so, you guys have all been ringing bells, but also you're Romanian. And earlier I said, I am the unpolished diamond. The woman who called me that is Romanian.
I was going to ask you.
I know.
Because when you were telling that story and you'd said the accent, I thought to myself, I bet she's Romanian.
She was Romanian.
By the way, listeners, that's a behind-the-scenes story we were talking about.
Yeah. So, you guys have all been saying things, and I'm
we're just prepping you for your bit.
There you go. So I guess that's about as much as I can remember. When I finally remember my good scream, I'll try to reenact it with all of you. But I've also been doing Kundalini yoga for that's been my summer vacation. I've been going every day.
Incredible.
And it's,
love how she said that.
It's this whole thing on the card that you gave me. Everything they do is on this, basically.
This is Sacha's manifestos on this card.
And today in the class, every time you go, it's totally different. You don't know what they're going to throw at you. But it's a lot of chanting. It's a lot of Waheguru and all that stuff. And but today, you're sitting there, and the woman who's this older lady sitting up there, very reserved, she's okay, now we're going to laugh hysterically. And she just starts laughing. She's use Buddha belly and start laughing. And everyone
is this your scream?
No. I mean, it was just so funny because, the laughing is on here, too. Yeah. And it's... that was today.
That's one of my favorite things to do with a group of people. Is just
it.
fake
Just
laugh until you're really laughing.
Yeah,
So
and it happened today, which is
Actually, let's laugh right now for 5 seconds.
I know, making it real.
Because whoever's listening has suddenly started laughing and is that's so weird.
I know, it is really weird. I know. Because when you have one of those real ones, it's God, I haven't laughed like that in a long time. Usually it's with my kids. I'm so lucky. I do have 2 amazing daughters. And at times we have laughing attacks, and it's really fun. Besides roller coaster, I love the roller coaster too. So, but that song is a lot of mistakes because if I'm good at anything, I'm certainly good at making mistakes.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
I make them frequently, and I think it's okay. I think it's like, the story was this. Yeah, mistakes are good because I even know, like, when I'm playing live, I usually make mistakes all the time, and when I make a mistake, it actually makes me smile and have more fun.
Yeah.
It also means you're taking chances.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I do it on purpose, but yeah.
You've put yourself out there, and that, that is taking a chance.
I do.
I think it's living.
Yeah.
It's just
But if
living.
you don't make any mistakes, it means you've kept yourself kind of wrapped in cotton wool or something. And you're not,
right, which is not the unpolished diamond way of living.
Especially not the Romanian unpolished diamond.
Romanian now, yeah.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, she called me that. Christine Valmy? She was like the queen of the skincare world.
And I now I have her pictured
Yeah.
completely. I know in essence.
Exactly. I know.
She could be my aunt.
I was going to say, she's actually related to you.
I know, right?
She lived in a castle. Literally in Westchester, literally a castle. Like, I didn't even know they had castles in Westchester.
Oh my god!
And
I didn't expect you to say in Westchester.
it was in Westchester. I'm telling you, you drove up there. It was like, where did this come from? Like an old castle, like literally.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
I went there for Christmas party. Yeah.
Romanians in our castles,
Yeah.
Same with
You
the
and
Welsh.
you
We have a
and
lot
you
of
and
them
Dracula.
too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And, here I am, still chugging along and
Making your music.
making music.
Well,
and-
you make your music because otherwise, how do you feel if you don't make your music?
Well, I think my music is totally medicinal and therapeutic and all those things. I work with kids a lot and teach guitar and... when Glee, that show was real popular, they made me a Glee teacher. And yes,
amazing.
It was pretty fun. And all I know is I had to take workshops for my job, and I got to take a workshop in Lincoln Center on the blues.
Oh, wow.
And that taught me so much about everything in the sense that the blues are written to heal the blues. So, just because you're singing about wah, 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 that's actually healthy because the wah, wah, wah is what makes you he. Singing the blues heals the blues. It's the only thing that works.
Absolutely.
And I always think creativity is really the only thing that works also because...
Primary food. Primary food.
It's the only thing that will heal the world. Like, all the other stuff is just ridiculous. It's big toys for big money, and it's like, if you could just play in mud, I think that instead
Which I
of...
do regularly.
Yeah, don't you think? Yeah, you do in the garden. I just always thought that instead of putting people in jail, put them in mud and make them make something.
Wow.
And I just think that by making anything, you'll feel better. I mean, I don't know. I can't justify all criminals, but I know a lot of them. And the ones I know are okay,
Have you been dating them? Is that where the song also comes from?
Well, actually, not that song, but
The other song about the criminal I dated.
that
song is called The Criminal I Dated.
No, I have visited many people. I've always been on. I always call it the girl part, even though I know there's girls in prison too. But I've always been the visitor. Luckily, so far. Exactly.
No need to knock on wood.
You never know.
Keep you on the legal side.
Yeah, I know. But I don't think anybody that things happen. But
Well, even what you're saying from a preventative point of view, if you can play with mud and play with whatever,
Yeah.
then you're less likely to go in the direction of the crime in the first
Exactly. I was working with this organization called Guitars Not Guns for a while
Right.
too,
Yeah.
and they give everyone a guitar, like urban kids, and it's to teach you to have another outlet.
Right.
Also, it's
need
really
things to do.
exposing the outlets that there are so many ways to be creative. It's endless, it's infinite.
Absolutely.
You can there's any way you can be creative, making sounds, just being silly.
Keeping that stuff bottled up really increases your risk of getting ill.
Yes.
End of
does.
story. Period. I'm living proof of that. I had been going through some very creatively repressed years, and I am a very creative person. I ended up creating inwardly some negative kind of stuff in the shape of tumors and things. So I realized that, and I was like, oh, that's what I need to undo.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
I know, but I think a lot of life is like the first half you do things to make things go wrong, and the second half you try to undo and fix the
That is
things
exactly
that you did
how
the
I
first
feel.
half. Yeah.
My 40th birthday coming, being that I'm thinking of being 85. Totally, I get it.
Exactly. And you learn from it, you know.
Why are you talking about 85?
Oh, I'm sorry,
She's
105.
going to be like,
I meant 125.
exactly.
Sorry, Grandma.
Well, if we're going to look like this one at 85, we are going to about 200. Yeah. I'm telling you. I bet you do jumping jacks and everything.
Yeah, she was at my studio earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you.
In my house,
you're more fit than 19-year-olds.
In my house, I have pickup sticks, jacks, all kinds of things. When
Jacks
my friends-
was my
when
favorite.
my friends come, they're still playing those games, and they still love them. At first, they say jacks.
I love
as soon as
jacks.
they get started, all the
Onesies, twosies.
competition comes right
Yeah.
back. And these are people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and
Yeah.
they're up playing jacks.
Jacks is the best game
It's
ever.
all about why should it change because you got older?
I
You
used to
still love
fantasize
jacks.
that I was the best jack player in the world, and I got
Really?
on the Johnny Carson show. That was my ticket to Johnny, and I never made it. But that was what I wanted. I was like, what could I be?
You
I was
gotta
so
come by
good in
my
jacks.
house. You got to come
We,
by the
we
house
got to all go to
by
DJ
and-
LeeLee's place.
Yes.
With the cake. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I have to say something about Lee. She opens up more and more. When was the last time you've been on radio? Because
About
you have some history on radio.
60 years ago, 65 years ago.
Oh, I thought it was more
radio, They were
recently.
doing a Dickens Christmas Carol. And I had the part of the little boy that went to find the goose that, Scrooge looked out the window and said about buying the thing. And I said, what? The goose in the window? I said,
That's her famous line.
the one that's as big as me?
She still remembers it.
My only
amazing.
one thing on the radio, and I remember it. Oh,
Now, you'll be
yeah.
back. I'm going to have you do that line again and again. And actually, Rue, you're coming back because you're going to bring your guitar.
Okay.
Because, we are so over time, but, whatever. I think that we should just close this and just pick out something from Stiggly's manifesto that stands out to you from this primary food list of things. And whoever's listening, whatever you call out, just put that in your head and carry that with you and practice something.
Do cartwheels.
Do cartwheels, Sasha. All right, Christine.
Eat your greens.
All right. Ooh, surprise. Eat your big ass collard greens. All right.
Go
ahead,
Mine
Lou.
would be, I think, dance like nobody's watching you.
Yeah. Naked even.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, for sure.
Of course. What else?
I'm gonna say give hugs.
Yeah.
Give hugs. All right, Rue.
I'll say show up for yourself every day.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't know. This was
I like
pretty,
all of them, though.
All of them, but we're
Yeah.
going to call them out at every show. We're going to end like that and just inspire the next
Hydrate.
person. And then, I don't know.
Gotta hydrate.
Jack has to roll in that ending credit
Thanks,
song.
Jack. Thanks, Roberta's. Roberta's,
Thank
the
you,
food
Roberta's.
looks so good.
Yeah, we're going to
do
go
it.
get some pizza.
Oh, wow. This is Cynthia Cherish Malloran, DJ Cherish the Love, and you are listening to Primary Food Radio on Heritage Radio Network. Come back.
Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butts, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.